different locations once in a while, co-working spaces, places where you can actually start your business, or if you're out in the area, you can come to work. So we want to say thank you very much for this month with WorkBuild headquarters, and Brandon here is going to give us a little more idea what they do. But and then afterward, we're going to turn it over to Anna Marie to kind of kind of introduce the speakers and kind of be the MC for the event. So with that, it's all yours, man.
Excellent. Again, I'd like to thank all of you for showing up. We're excited to have you here in our space. As you can see, it is very raw right now, but we're excited about the progress being made. My name is Brandon Christopher. I own Campus Detroit, and I'm also 1/3 of WorkBuildHQ. I'm one of the partners here. We're an 8,000 square foot co-working space. As you can see, we've got quite a bit of room here. And we do a lot of the same things that most co-working spaces do. However, we're a bit larger. We have a fitness center on our floor. We have a prime location here, right on Washington Boulevard, near the Capitol Park area, where you all know a lot of development is going on. So we're really excited about our location. We're really excited about our space. But we also have more, I would say, a lot more robust amenities and options here at WorkBuild. One of the things that we have is a fitness center on our floor that our members have access to. We have offices with doors. Some of the co-working spaces are just open air spaces. We have 3 levels of co-working membership. The first is your general membership, where you gather in this communal area, the central area. The second is our dedicated desks, which will be in this area as we continue construction. And I'll also note, as I'm pointing that out, we have renderings here to give you guys an idea of what the finished product will look like once WorkBuild is complete, and we anticipate being fully operational early September. So you guys can look forward where we are. We definitely are right now taking membership applications. There is an application process. We are very much dedicated to curating a very diverse group of individuals to join our co-working space. Another thing that sets us apart in terms of what we do here is we're very actively looking at ways to take the artist who works in our space, or for instance, we have an individual who's in finance who is already occupying one of our offices. Slow Roll is here. I'm sure all of you are familiar with that. Slow Roll is here. And so we are actively looking at opportunities and creating opportunities for individuals who might not otherwise interact. I think most of you are in the tech sector, and so we like to have folks in the tech interact with folks who do photography. We've got some great photography in the back here. And so we're looking at ways to sort of put professionals in touch with one another in ways that might not necessarily occur naturally. I think I left off on the 3rd level of co-working membership, but we have our offices, as you can see. 6 of them are already occupied, so we're really growing fast, even though we have not yet officially opened. So again, I won't talk you all's ear off anymore. That's our general overview of WorkBuild. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to come and ask me. We're really excited to have you here. I'm thankful for you guys being here, and I look forward to hearing you all's pitches and enjoying meeting all of you as well. Thank you all very much.
Well, we want to thank you for having us here. We really appreciate the invitation, and we are, you want me to be this way? We're really grateful, thank you. So our first speaker tonight is our guest presenter. His name's Charlie Moret, and he is the president of Invest Michigan. Invest Michigan is a new firm that has just started in March, and they have received a sizable grant from the state. I think you said 5.8 million? 6.8, that's a big difference. 6.8 million, and they are looking to invest primarily in technology firms. And their goal is to help startup companies really get that lift off that they need to keep going and make a difference and make their idea happen. So with that in mind, I'm going to give the floor to Charlie and let him tell you a little bit about his new venture capital firm.
Well, basically what I also want to say while Charlie's setting up, this couldn't happen if our sponsors didn't help us out. This is, as you all know, this is pretty much a free event. All of our events are pretty much free for everyone to attend. So we have some great sponsors. Start Garden out Grand Rapids by Rick DeBoever, his group. And then they actually invest in companies $5,000 every week. It's a great way to kind of get you started. So check them out. Kidpreneur is my business. We teach kids 13 and under about entrepreneurship and coding. And so we're at 4 locations, and we're actually one of their clientele that we just signed up. We can't wait, to be honest. And then Wisdom is a huge benefactor of this group that actually helped us from day one. That's Maria Lalande. And then we have Quicken Loan. Thanks to Quicken Loan, they've been very, very supportive of what we've been doing from day one, as well as giving us different spaces to work at or to be at every single month. And then Mid-Michigan Innovation Center, if you haven't been in Midland, go out there. Basically, they're a smart zone area. It's run by one of the MEDC smart zones. Ken Kowski, he's the CEO out there. And again, they do a lot of great things for entrepreneurs out in the Midland area. So with that, I'll turn this over to Charlie.
Great space. Congratulations on this. I'm still amazed at how many times I go to a new place in Detroit and there's startup activity happening. So a startup for startups is the best thing that could ever happen. And we're a startup too. So the Michigan Pre-Seed Fund is actually a state-funded program. The MEDC runs it. They awarded me through the Invest Michigan a RFP, and we have $6.8 million to invest in early stage technology startup companies. The whole idea being that we're trying to help companies get off the ground, get started, and then expand in Michigan, which obviously creates more activity, more economic activity, creates jobs, and ultimately, helps grow our economy. And I came 18 months ago to Michigan from Connecticut, where I spent 25 years working with startups, early stage companies, and I've just been amazed at not only the amount of activity that's happening in Michigan, but also the amount of support that you get from state programs, support you get from the private sector, and support you get from the philanthropic sector. So if you're in the startup technology area, this is probably the better place you can be. Everyone talks about the West Coast and the East Coast, but the reality of it is, being here in Michigan, you can get to access resources, people, a lot quicker than you can on any one of the coasts. And where, if anybody knows, 5 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, in Michigan, I really believe it's more like 2 degrees of separation. You can get to anybody very quickly. So the name of our fund is the Michigan Pre-Seed Fund 2.0. Reason why it's 2.0 is because there was a predecessor fund that had been around for about 7 years, but we're a totally new fund. And our company, Invest Michigan, is the one that's actually managing the pre-seed fund. So we're an independent nonprofit Michigan corporation. We commenced operating just a couple months ago in May of this year. We're headquartered right here in downtown Detroit at the Guardian building. Again, we're looking for investable companies, startups throughout the state of Michigan. We're really a very small team. Myself, Han Peng, who's an investment analyst working with me on the deals, and then part-time administrator Phil Coleman. So we're really, just like many of you, really a startup with only a few people doing this right now. And of the $6.8 million, we really try to get them to work together, because oftentimes what happens with startups is you get funding for one piece of activity, and then it dries up. So what we're trying to do is actually fund startups through multiple stages of development. So that's the startup phase, the development phase, and then ultimately into the expansion phase. And we also work with other funds to do this. So our first fund, which is the University Commercialization Fund, is our earliest investment vehicle. It's $1 million, and it's really to work with companies that are coming out of the universities. Either they're in the university now, the technology, they're about to spin out, or they're a company that just recently spun out of the university. And so that could be the first level of investment out of this fund. The Business Accelerator Fund, which actually works out of a lot of the smart zones, is a partner of ours, and so we might give the company the first investment through the University Commercialization Fund, and then the Business Accelerator Fund does the next piece of investment, and then the microloan, which we partner with First Step and Start Garden and others, could be the next period of financing. So one of the things when you're doing a startup is you really want to look for funders that could actually grow with you as you're trying to grow your company, as opposed to just looking for investment vehicle today. And then we have the pre-seed fund, which works at a little bit later stage. Already at the time that we invest at the pre-seed is hopefully we've started with the company earlier, but it also gives us the opportunity to help them expand their operations. And then follow on, we'll partner with some of the VC funds kind of for the Series A, Series B, and so forth for really company development. And just to give you a quick idea of kind of where we invest, so you have the universities here that are generating IP, and then the University Commercialization Fund would be the first investment. As I mentioned earlier, BAF would be next, and then we would follow the fund. So really what you're looking for is companies that have already developed a proof of concept. So somehow you've got market validation, you've got customer validation, and your technology is actually going. So, and then we'll help through the prototype development phase where maybe you need the money to kind of put the prototype in the customer's hand, actually test it, validate, maybe lock in that customer. And then finally, again, through the expansion phase. Kind of the industries we work in, we look at advanced automotive, manufacturing and materials, agricultural technology, alternative energy, IT, and then life sciences. So those are the sectors that we're pursuing right now to invest in. And so some of the highlights of the fund, we have about $300 to $350 per company at this stage of development. We'll invest, as I said, in a couple various tranches. Our goal is just not to invest, but to really partner with the companies to see how we can support and help these companies. Can we help them get to customers? Can we help them get other resources? Can we help them get talent? Everything that we can do to help support that company beyond just the financing side. Most of our targets are companies and startups that are in operation less than 5 years. They would have revenues of less than $2.5 million. If you're up in that range, you're really off to the races at that point. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we really do invest with other funds. So we don't invest by ourselves. Either we're brought in for startups, oftentimes by angel funds or investment firms, or we might bring in those funds to co-invest. Part of the strategy there is we can put more money at play and invest in the companies, but also at the same time, more resources again can be brought to the company. So the University Commercialization Fund, we have $1 million allocated, up to $50,000 per investment. Again, it's spin-outs out of the universities, recent startups, and we're actually launching this fund starting September. So if you're working with any of the folks at the universities or you're trying to extract technology, then this might be a very good vehicle for your first level of funding. The next one is the Micro Investment Fund. We have $500,000 allocated to that. That's for investments up to $50,000. And in this fund, we'll actually co-invest with friends and family. Oftentimes, that's where you get the first level of investment. So we'll partner with those individuals. And so when you think about it, we're bringing 50, family and friends been 50. Now suddenly the company has $100,000 of investment, which really can help launch these companies. And then the pre-seed and follow-on financing, we have $5.3 million that's allocated to this fund. We can go up to $150 per transaction. Again, that's co-invested with other investors. In this particular fund, we're actually looking for more traditional investors, either angel funds or potentially VC funds. And the reason is because once a company or startup reaches this level, they're really starting to grow and expand. They're going to need more capital to get there. So by leveraging with these kind of firms, they have more capital at risk, so we can actually help support that. And our investments can be either in equity or convertible debt, so we have the capability to do both. Some of the other things about our fund, we have relationships with the 15 smart zones around the state. Part of that is also, again, bringing resources to the company. So oftentimes the company, before it comes to us, is working with the smart zone, utilizing themselves of the advisory services, and then come to us for financing. I mentioned the Business Accelerator Fund. We have relationships with a lot of the angel funds. We'll look at deals jointly to support the investment in these companies. One of the key assets that we have is we have 36 individuals that form our investment committee. And these are folks that have technology backgrounds, they have industry and business backgrounds, and they also have technology backgrounds. So they help us sort of look at the investments, but once we make an investment, these folks can also help us by being resources to the companies, helping them as they try to grow their company and their technology. And then on a monthly basis, we hold office hours, oftentimes within the smart zones, where we'll meet with entrepreneurs and startups on a one-on-one basis, and we'll just work with them in terms of giving them some advice, letting them know, what they need to do to be ready for financing, and kind of help guide them on the financing side. Well, right now, as I said, we started up in May. The amount of inquiries has been actually, I did this slide yesterday, and now we're up to 42. We got 2 more in today. So the activity again in Michigan has been very, very strong. Since starting up in May, we've actually funded 2 deals. ENT Biotech Solutions, based here in Detroit, is a medical device company that has a device which is changing the procedure for removal of tonsils or adenoids. And the current medical procedure is that they remove they cut, and then they have to go in there and cauterize to stop the bleeding. This device does it all in one particular procedure, which reduces the time, the cost, and also the impact on the patient. So they're in search of getting their 510K, which is an FDA clearance this fall. And once they get that, they'll be able to start bringing the product to market. And then the second company we invested is an Ann Arbor-based company, Adaptive, that is basically changing the way digital ads are being used. Instead of using banner ads, they embed native ads into mobile applications for the brands themselves. So for instance, one of their clients is Bank of America, who has a mobile app. You go, you do your finances. So they found that by embedding Bank of America ads in their mobile apps, they have a much better turnover and response time than bombarding their customers with other type of ads. So they've got a number of customers already in validation, and they're starting to expand. And then we've got one more investment that was recently approved, and we're in the process of closing. And of the 40 right now, we have 11 companies that we're actively working with in the investment process. So I just thought, I haven't been in and around the tech sector and then on the entrepreneurial side. I thought I would just kind of give you some observations. Obviously, as somebody who's been financing companies and startups, prior to coming into Detroit, I was in Connecticut, where I invested in over 40 technology companies, startups, and my organization invested in over 150. So after a while, you get to see some of the lessons learned from working with startups and some of the things to learn. One of the things we really try to do by working with companies is, if we can save you some mistakes, like obviously you learn from mistakes, you got to make mistakes, part of growing and expanding your company. But if we can help you avoid some of the more costly ones, or the ones that actually, set you back a lot, then we'll move your business forward. So I just thought I'd share some of these things. So number one, when you're doing a startup, really define what your endpoint is. Why are you in it? and really be honest with yourself. You know, oftentimes you say, oh, I'm looking for an exit, I'm looking for an exit. But in reality, they're really not looking for an exit. What they really want is just to build a business and run it for a long period of time. Now, there's certain investors that consider not investing in those kind of deals, but they can be very good companies that get to revenue and could employ 5, 10, 20, 50 people, so there's nothing wrong with that. So try to define that as exactly what is it that you're really doing this, why are you doing it, and what do you really want out. And you'll find if you use that to guide your basis, everything will become a little bit easier. You've got to have a compelling value proposition. You've probably heard this over and over again, but it's amazing how I see startups and still they haven't flushed out what they're really working in. So value, 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 creation of value. You know, ultimately somebody has to reach in their pocket, pull out some hard cash, and exchange it for what you have. And the only way they're going to do that is if you have really a value proposition that is really helping them, saving them time, saving them money, any of that kind of thing. So make sure that you have a very compelling value proposition in your startup. A lot of times startups come in and all they do is we usually give an hour time to engage with a first presentation, and of that hour, 55 minutes is they're explaining to me the technology. Well, reality of it is we really want to know about the market. Technology is great, it's an end to the means, but if you don't have a good market, if you haven't identified the customer, if you haven't identified how you're going to get to the market, well, you're never going to get there. So make sure you spend time not adding the next widget, changing the next feature because one client or somebody you talked to said they wanted it. But get the product, the technology to its basics, and then really figure out where that market potential is. Spend your time on customer development as opposed to product development. People will buy products sometimes that are not fully baked, right? You know, the people sometimes will take because it still solves a problem for them. So focus on that customer development because that's the folks that are going to give you the return of what you're looking for. Number 5 is the management team. If you want to be successful with your startup, you know, make sure you have the expertise you need, both from a technical perspective, from the business acumen, people that understand business side, sales and marketing. Make sure you have the technology covered, that you have some financial astuteness in the company, and figure out how your team can be complementary, because it takes a lot of skills to get a startup successful. It's the hardest thing. Sometimes it's one entrepreneur trying to do it, or maybe 2. If you can solve this equation early in your startup, your track record to success will be just quicker and more prevalent. And get to your proof of concept. You know, a lot of times I find startups are working on the idea, and they never really get to the point where they're really proving out what they have. So the quicker you can get to a proof of concept, the quicker you're going to be able to get investable funds, potentially get customers, and move your startup along. So some of the success factors that I've seen in entrepreneurs, leaders that can lead an organization, truly have a vision where they want to go. It is so crystal clear to them. They have figured out the pathway and are driving the company that way. They're clearly focused on that. They know where to spend their time. Doing a startup is a full contact sport, so you have to be prepared to be roughed up, get a lot of no's, get a lot of barriers, shrug it off and move on, because it's you know, a lot of hard work. You know, you got to be willing to bet everything you have, because if you're not willing to bet it, then folks that are either going to work for you or that are going to invest in you are not going to necessarily be, you know, at the stage of supporting that. Talked about a value proposition. Raising the right kind of dollars, whether it should be grant funds, whether it should be investable funds, whether it should be from customer funds. Earlier you get to that, the quicker again your startup will go. and the sources of capital, milestones, and attracting talent. Those are some of the clear things that we kind of move. So really, all that, what ties it together? It's really a culture. How do you build a culture within your organization? So if you do that, you concentrate on these things, you build a culture that really gets your startup going, then you're going to really be moving to success, and that's kind of what we learned. So in the end, it's really about, do you have the passion? You really, this is what you absolutely want to do for the right reasons. Do you have the presence and the mindset to do it? And then are you totally convinced in your own heart where you're willing to put at risk everything that you have because you know you can make this go? And do you want to change the world? Maybe you have something that can significantly enhance. Like I've invested in a couple companies like this one, the medical device, and one other that actually makes it better for patients. And the people that were running it, that was their primary motivation. So having the conviction of why you want to do this is pretty important. So with that, my contact information is up on the screen. Our website, michiganpreseed.info or investmichigan.org. You can get to it at either one. My phone number's there and my email. As I say, if we have office hours, usually once a month. If you're interested, we have a form to fill out. You can come in, I'll meet with you for a half hour and try to help you with whatever you're trying to do with your startup. So with that, thank you. Nope, not at all. I just didn't know how much time we had, so.
Do you require that the company leadership go through an incubation process?
We don't require it, but we want to know who as a community is around you. So if we say that in order to approach the fund, you're better positioned if you've gone through an incubator because they're kind of looking independent. They're supporting you. So they're giving you good advice in terms of, either your product validation, your business plan, your financing, the resources you need. The only alternative to that would be if you're working with an investor group, like an angel group or something, that's backing you, then they're going to provide that same service. But it's most helpful. To get a startup going, you got to build a community around you. And like I said earlier, Michigan is a great place for a startup. You can access all kinds of resources, grants, programs, financing that can really help you get there in a fairly quick order.
So you came from Connecticut, let's say a year and a half ago. So why did you come here?
Well, it was interesting. There were personal reasons why I had been doing the work there for quite a while, and I kind of like startups. So I've always done kind of my own startups, usually though from within organizations, although this one is actually startup. But when I was coming to, somehow serendipitously, I got a lead about TechTown looking for somebody to run their technology-based programming. And so I had started up an incubator, an accelerator, and a fund back in Connecticut. Had done that for 5 years, and I was kind of looking, so I was kind of a repeat entrepreneur looking to do it again. So I did it at TechTown. We restarted their entrepreneurial advisory services, started up their acceleration program, their incubation, and some of their tech transfer work. And then this opportunity came to start up the fund, and it was another startup, so I kind of signed on. So, and Michigan has far exceeded my expectations. When I did my due diligence, came here, kind of looked around, I was just amazed at the amount of activity going on. The 18 months I've been here, just like this, you walk in. When I was looking for space, I walked in at the Ford building, which is on Griswold, and the gentleman showed me an office space. He goes, "Why don't you come over here? I just want to show you space." There was a co-working startup space on the second floor. It's like, this is great, and it's happening all over, and a lot of it people don't even know yet, but this is a place to be, and that's why I want to invest here, and I want to invest in startups.
Thank you.
You
more than welcome to sit back here too if you want. It's hard for you to speak.
All right, so if you've never been here before, a little bit about how DNewTech runs. So each person is going to have 5 minutes to present, and then we afterwards, and it's a hard 5 minutes. So we'll cut you off if you're not quite done, sorry. And then, Tom, refresh my memory, 2 minutes of questions afterwards?
So 5.
5. Okay, so 5 minutes of questions afterwards. And then,
There's a dongle.
that's it. After the evening's over,
Get the dongle.
we'll have our presenters. And, sorry. And then you can network for a little bit and hang out, maybe ask WorkBuildHQ some questions if you're interested about coming in here. And then that'll be our evening. And we usually end up at around 9 o'clock. So you can program your time that way. Right now we have Mike Burba setting up, who also is interested in bettering patients' lives. He is a serial entrepreneur, he says, and he's the VP of Data Analytics at BIOVIGIL. He helps hospitals reduce the number of infections by tracking the patients, by tracking what patients acquire in the hospital. He does this by tracking hospital employees and making sure that they're washing their hands in between the visits of the patient rooms. So I'd like you to give a round of applause to Mike.
So first I want to say thanks to Charlie. It's been really important, I think, speaking on the entrepreneur side. Funding is a major challenge, and it's been good to have the pre-seed capital fund. I'm actually an advisor to Adaptive. They just closed Campbell Soup this week, so maybe happy. Okay, so Mike Burba, I'm the VP of Data Analytics at BioVigil. We are a VC-based or backed startup that's out of Ann Arbor. So we're on the north side of Ann Arbor. We're here mainly to meet new people, to see if anybody, if we can identify people who are interested in working in, the wearable tech space in healthcare. So the problem that we're solving is about 1 in 20 people that go into a hospital actually come out with or actually acquire an infection while they're in the hospital. There's a lot of different types of infections that they can get, but there are 6 major ones. All told, there's about $11.3 billion in cost to the U.S. healthcare system because of these infections that people acquire. So what's changed recently as a part of Obamacare is that there are both penalties and incentives around reducing healthcare acquired infections. On one side, they get incentives for increasing or improving their healthcare quality. On the other side, there's actually penalties for people that don't perform well and that have a lot of infections. So how do you prevent healthcare acquired infections? Well, washing your hands is one of the major ways that you can do that. This is Dr. Semmelweis. He was the director of a hospital in Vienna back in 1847. He identified before germ theory that by washing your hands they were able to reduce in half the amount of infections that mothers got when they were giving birth to their babies in his hospital. So we've known this for over 150 years. However, we're still stuck at hand hygiene compliance rates of around 50%. And this has been documented in study after study. Most hospitals use awareness. They buy little stuffed animals like this. They put posters throughout the hospital. They even produce videos. They have like a almost a video. What's it called? Sundance. There's almost a Sundance for infection control teams. They make really horrible videos, and so they're focused on raising awareness, but as you might imagine, it doesn't really have much of an impact on reducing or improving hand hygiene compliance. So our solution is, well, there's 4 different components to it. One is a badge that people wear. Healthcare workers wear this. This is we call it an orb. It goes on the threshold of a door. This is an IR beacon. It comes down to IR receptors on the badge, and that's how we identify when a healthcare worker walks into the room. And there's an alcohol sensor on this badge. It works like a breathalyzer. And when they wash their hands, healthcare workers wash their hands. Hopefully this works in the demo. They put their hands up to the badge, and it turns green. So that's how we record that they've washed their hands. These are charging stations. Nurses will put the badges on the charging station at the end of each shift. All the data that we collect on the badge gets uploaded to the cloud through an embedded PC that's in this charger station. I got 1 more minute. So, I walked through the process. I'll have to go quickly. How do we know that it works? This is some data that shows a frequency distribution of when people wash their hands when they walk into a room. You can see when the badges start beeping, there's a noticeable impact on people washing their hands, about 20 to 30%. When they leave a room, we did a study where we turned off the reminder sequences, and when the reminder sequence was turned off, there was about a 20 to 30% less compliance with washing their hands. These are 3 major customers that we have. They all have the system deployed. You can see that our hand hygiene compliance rate at each of these is over 95%. One of them did a study and measured the decreased infections that resulted in the unit, where they had it deployed, and they measured a 15% decrease in the infection rate. So that's it. Yeah.
I can't agree with you more. I've studied this area with the infections, and in fact invested in a company back in Connecticut. Another source of infection was actually on the keyboards and on the iPads that the docs and nurses were using. So the company is called ReadyDoc, which disinfects the keyboards and the iPads as well, and same great results. So great company. Super.
Yeah.
What's the ROI of 15% drop? And then what are you guys looking for? What's your next problem that you're confronting right now?
So in terms of the hard ROI, again, it predominantly comes through the penalties, incentives that come through the what's called the healthcare hospital-acquired condition program. Okay. So what that does is, on one hand, the government no longer pays for your care if you acquire an infection while you're in the hospital. And on top of that, they rank order hospitals from bottom to top, and the bottom quartile get a 1% reduction in all of their Medicare payments. So, and most hospitals, if you don't know this, about 55% of their, 40 to 50% of their revenues actually come from Medicare dollars now. So it's a huge hit. So that's where the ROI comes from. In terms of future for the company, we've looked at some tangential industries like food service, where
usually at DNewTech, at least in the other one, you're asking for something. Do you want developers? Do you want,
Yeah, we're predominantly looking for people who are interested in working in wearable tech. We have obviously we design all of this, so hardware designers, as well as there's a lot of software. We have implementation engineers that fly across the country and do installations on site, as well as do customer care. So we'd love to talk to people who are really interested and passionate about the product. And we're raising a round of funds too. So we are VC backed, but we're definitely interested if there are people who are investors that are looking for an interesting opportunity. Yeah.
Don't you expect that there are many professionals that they're going to be antagonistic? They're going to come with excuses. Oh, I cannot wash it with alcohol. Maybe the medical care, maybe the doctors will say, I don't need to wash it every time. I'm not touching the patient.
Yeah.
This is wasting productivity. If I have to waste 30 seconds every time I go 3 visits in 5 minutes, that's a lot of productivity.
Yeah. So it is an issue. The biggest problem that we have when we go into our customers, and this is part of what we learned, Charlie, as we went through the customer development process, is it's not a technology problem, it's more of a culture change issue. So we've developed sort of a process to go into a hospital. We do things like we'll identify what we call super users, so people who are identified as people who are going to be positive about the technology and adoption of it. We go in and we put the badge on them for a week and a half. We collect all the data. They tell everybody how great it is and how well it works. And then we roll it out to the rest of the users on the floor. And what that does is that decreases the negative Nellies, right? It decreases their willingness to say, hey, it doesn't work, or there's something wrong with the technology. They can't do that because it's worked for other people. There are challenges with different types of people. In hospitals, you have these things called doctors, and doctors believe that they don't have germs on their hands sometimes. Some doctors do.
rules apply to them.
Nor do rules apply to them. So, that's, in fact, Dr. Semmelweis was the director. There were 2 wards. One was a nursing ward, midwife ward. The other was staffed by physicians. It was the physicians ward that almost something like 25% of the women that went in there to have a baby died. And the reason why was the doctors would work on cadavers as part of their medical training and walk directly from there into giving birth of a baby, and that's how the infections got transmitted. So what he did was he forced all the doctors, after they got done working on the cadavers, to put their hands in this chlorinated lime solution, which is a lot worse than the alcohol, right? Basically burn off their hands, but when you did that, suddenly the rate dropped and it was less than the nurse ward. In fact, women, if you had your baby on Monday, you'd go to the doctor's ward, on Tuesday, the nurse's ward. If women were about to have their baby on Monday, they would have the baby at home because it was so well known that there was a high mortality rate at that clinic. So anyway, sorry.
All right, thank you, Mike. That was great. So the next person that we have is Ahsan Sohail. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. He's a recent graduate from the Ross School of Business and the U of M, and founder and CEO of Buddy App. So, no? Anybody here from that team?
I didn't think I saw
All
it.
right. So the next up is Kate. Kate Catlin is a native of Seattle. She moved to Detroit with Venture for America, a year and a half ago?
Just a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's currently the community manager at Grand Circus. So if you have any questions about co-working spaces in general, she'd be happy to answer that. Her company that she began is called Assemble. It's an online platform basically to give small businesses a leg up. She feels like big businesses are getting all of these perks and the small businesses are not able to take advantage of that. So to help them achieve economies of scale, she's doing things like helping them group bulk orders for multiple businesses, sharing delivery trucks and spaces, or maybe even hire a bookkeeper full-time for several businesses at once. So she'd like to say a little bit about her platform. I'll give you a minute I'll give you a sign back there when you have a minute.
Okay, awesome. Cool. So, once again, my name is Kate. I'm a Venture for America fellow, and I'm really, really passionate about small businesses. And I just skipped a slide, so I'm going to go back. For those of you who don't know, Venture for America is a really cool fellowship that brings people to places like Detroit to work as startups for 2 years, and then we start our own. So, what's the problem that we're talking about here? In the summer of 2009, before I started college, I biked across the country with 9 people, and you know what we saw in like every single small town outside of the coast? Closed down small businesses. Tons of them, boarded up windows. It was absolutely depressing. So we kept asking people, why is this happening? What's going on? Is there an epidemic that only affects small businesses? And they would say to us, sorry, a Walmart moved in 30 miles away. Oh, you needed a grocer tonight? Keep biking. And we would say, gosh, this is so frustrating, but you just can't compete these days with the prices that Walmart's going to give you. And it's depressing. Why? Because they're bigger, so they can do everything cheaper. They can order from China cheaper. They can, I don't know, hire employees for no money cheaper. They can do a lot of things cheaper because they are big and powerful. So I am trying to start a company to solve that problem by bringing small businesses together. So who exactly am I talking about? I've been trying to meet with like every nonprofit community partner in Detroit who works with small businesses. They all tell me a lot of stories about these people who like don't have a point of sale system and only have bags of receipts and don't have a Facebook. I really want to help those people and I can't. So that's not, it's not that I can't, I just think there's already a lot of amazing cool programs in Michigan helping them. And who wants to duplicate efforts? No one, that's silly. So that's not the target market I'm going for those of you who have heard about that. What I am going for is the small businesses who have had some success, who have a retail storefront, who are a little more advanced. The ones like Coffee of Origin, which Anna Marie wants. And if you like coffee and you haven't tasted Coffee of Origin, go talk to her right now. You're wasting your time. It's the people like Great Lakes. It's the people like Moret in Midtown, the people who kind of have it together, but they're low on cash because their prices are high and not a lot of people are going to them. So that's really who I'm after. So what are we going to do? Well, I bet you didn't know that there are 170,000 small businesses in Michigan alone. Just Michigan. And part of the thing here is like if they all got together and did things together, they would be bigger than the big businesses, right? But those small businesses are shutting down because, well, if you look at the numbers, it'll say small business is slowly on the rise. What that accounts for is there's a lot of new people who are working for themselves. So a one-person company, a freelancer, that counts as a small business. Not trying to help them. The ones that are hiring you, me, and your son when he's 16 years old and needs to learn the meaning of discipline, those companies, those numbers are dropping. So they are going down. They are losing to Walmart. But if they band together, I see a future where they don't have to. So they're going to connect over lots of different things. They can connect over delivery share. So if you need something to go to Grand Rapids and I need something to go to Grand Rapids, why do we both have a delivery truck? That's silly. Or if you want to bulk order t-shirts and you want to bulk order t-shirts, why are you ordering them alone for higher prices? That's silly. Or if you need a bookkeeper and none of you can pay $50 an hour, which apparently is standard for bookkeeping rates, why don't we band together to hire someone full-time? So, what it's going to look like at the start is a little like this. Because those are my tech skills and I want to really focus on building the community and bringing people together, not the product development. So instead of for sale, maybe it is for sale, but it's all the small business tools, right? Like cool tables and stuff like that you want to sell. Maybe over here it's, hey, you tweet about me, I tweet about you. And so it's more like cross-promotional marketing. Maybe up there, instead of personals, it's like, hey, find a co-founder. Maybe over there, well, jobs can be jobs, but community, something like, hey, a whole different thing of postings for ways that you can bulk order together. So far, I have run a crowdfunding campaign. I was aiming for $3,000 because I had no idea what to do, and I got that in 4 days. The campaign ran for a month, so I kept raising money, and in the end, I ended up with $6,000 actually because there are some people that wrote me checks, so they weren't on this website, which was a huge showing of support from the community. I also raised the money by selling goods that local small businesses had donated to me. So like a local popcorn shop gave me something, Coffee of Origin gave me coffee, a bunch of different things contributed because they felt that this was a cause worth supporting. So you should go check out the website regardless, just so you can go see who they are and then go buy something from them. What I'm looking for is help, support, community partners, and people who want to get involved because small businesses build community and we care.
What's your definition of small business?
Anything under 500 employees is the same as the SBA. So this invites a couple like mid-sized businesses to get involved. Frankly, I think that's awesome. And as well, you know, we could do some advanced co-oping here too, right? So if we all make carrots, maybe we band together and we sell them in bulk to a cafeteria, right? So there's no reason to be like, I want to talk to big businesses. It's just, I'm really focused on the smaller guys because that's who I'm passionate about. The retail shops. Yeah.
What do you see as your relationship with chambers of commerce?
Supplemental. So the funny thing is, this idea exists. It's called the Chamber of Commerce, and that's the non-tech version of it. But the problem that some people have expressed to me about some chambers of commerce, and not all of them, is that they are so busy selling memberships that they forget about actually taking care of people. So I toyed with the idea of making this a membership-based site, like you pay 10 bucks a month and then you get on it. I think in the end, I don't think that builds what I want to build. So it might be something more transactional-based, but not trying to run anybody out of business. It's better to partner with people than compete with them. So trying to partner with them and be supplemental, although,
It kind of ties into how likely do you think businesses are willing to partner with another company that they consider their competition?
That's a great question. And my hope is that this isn't a town of sharp elbows and that they see, oh, if we could save $100, if we could save $1,000, then that's worth it to me. I think that if we continue this attitude of small business against small business rather than small business against Starbucks, we're doomed. So if people are smart enough to figure it out, then good. And if they're not, then, well, I'm out of business and so are they. Yeah.
Are you really focused on just the marketplace aspect right now, or are you thinking of kind of being proactive and say hiring that bookkeeper and then starting to lease out the time?
I think the next steps are really to talk to like all these people who help small businesses, because sometimes I think they know what they need better than people themselves. And my next step is to talk to the small businesses about what they see as the most important goals. I really see myself starting this as a marketplace, and then once we get enough buy-in from the community and enough support, maybe we even do like a mini crowdfunding campaign to hire the bookkeeper. That's a later stage after we develop some trust kind of thing. Yeah.
How many are you targeting like first year now that you raise your percent of funding already? Or do you have an idea how many people or how many businesses you're targeting to start?
In the first year? I mean, I'm going to go for 100, but this is, unfortunately, at $6,000 is not enough for me to quit my job. So this will be kind of a side project, and I'll be working on it and building that traction and growth, and hopefully once that comes along a little more, I can go to some investors for real money, or it'll just take off on its own. So. How do I plan to use money? Great question. So it costs, I'm going to use a site called Vanilla Forums at first to get it up. It costs about $200 a month for the features I want, and then plus more for some more features. I think a lot of it will go to that. I'm also going to join about 3 business associations or chambers of commerce. That costs like $250 a year, so a lot of the money will go to that. I think some advertising in there a little bit, and then one thing I'd really like to do is do a small business summit. So actually get people together in a room, the same way a chamber of commerce would, but a little more hands-on, like not panels, like workshop your Facebook ads, that kind of stuff. So that all takes money. But I was thinking of going to Disneyland, but you know.
Are there any existing? I'm thinking in terms of your small budget.
Right.
Are there existing forums like that where you could maybe sponsor a booth or something like that to still get the eyeballs, but spend a lot less money?
Oh, existing.
Existing like small business forums where you could get a sponsor booth or something like that.
Great question. I know there are small business forums. I know there are a lot of small business meetups. The idea of like sponsoring something at it to get more involved is a good one. I don't think that this in and of itself quite exists yet. There are sites where you can come together just for bulk ordering. There are sites where...
I was thinking more like conferences where you could go and have a booth to raise awareness instead of having to raise your own conference.
Great idea. My problem with a lot of conferences is that I think they're really useless. So I'd rather...
They are, but people still go to them.
But I think that could add a lot of value too, like some workshopping aspect to... I don't know. That's a great idea, essentially.
Jason a minute to set up. If you have to run to the bathroom, you want to get another drink, add your potato chips, now is the time. Oh, all right. Roger, we'll wait a second anyways, because now everybody's moving,
They want to share.
it's live streaming now. Which it wasn't.
Is he going to get to where he differentiates himself from that? It's going to be just having it down to where you're basically going to have a beeline right in here. You can zoom so it says exactly
I even said how to pronounce it.
What? Okay. So, all right, Jason DeBoever, he's an East Side Detroit native and a former Marine, jarhead. And Jason got a, of course it died. It worked. Okay, so Jason got a cushy software development job, and of course my screen changed, and he after the Marine Corps, and he let his fitness slip. Obviously this isn't an issue anymore. Finally, he turned that around with diet and exercise, and he became a bit of an exercise evangelist. So he came up with the idea to start Fudi.st, and the goal is to make eating right as easy as eating unhealthy. They're starting with restaurants, but Fudi.st plans to eat the world of eating.
I'm Jason DeBoever, founder of Fudi.st, as she said. Eating healthy is too hard. It's not just too hard, it's harder than it needs to be, as this gentleman will tell you. It's harder than it needs to be. Why is it so hard? Is it all self-discipline? None of us have the self-discipline required. In a world of donuts, we're all helpless? No, absolutely not. Big part of the reason it's so hard is the information overload we have, the misinformation that we have. In the world that all of this stuff gets thrown at us in, it's impossible for us to try to keep track of it. It's impossible for us to want to keep track of it. We look at all this and we go, forget it. What we need to do is apply the 80-20 rule to our eating, to our eating plans. We need to go for the high impact changes in our lives. And that everybody's familiar with are the big four, right? So the big high impact, by far, the biggest things that are going to impact us are calories, fat, carbohydrates, and protein. We get those right, we're going to see a lot of healthy changes in our lives. We're going to feel good. Our fitness is going to be where it needs to be, right? Obviously a little bit of exercise in there as well. All right, the other thing besides that information overload that negatively affects us, that makes it almost impossible for people to manage, is what I call the puzzle game or the Tetris game of eating, right? So you've got these bar graphs here, and really it's like Tetris. These bar graphs are going to be falling on top of each other, and your goal is to, while eating, create the Tetris game that's going to be your daily goal. It requires a huge, it's hugely stressful, it requires a huge amount of cognitive overhead, and it requires a huge amount of forethought. Some of us are willing to do it, but it's very stressful, and it basically becomes a hobby. It basically becomes a full-time hobby. We don't want to do that. Now, wouldn't it be nice if instead of having to deal with that, you could pull out your phone and press a magic lunch button, and the interwizards would solve the problem for you? Fudi.st is that magic button. You pull your phone out and press the lunch button on Fudi.st, and it's going to find restaurants in your area that have appropriate meals for your nutrition needs. It's going to find the meals at those restaurants. And they're all going to be located near you. So let's jump into a demo here. Alright, so this is my iOS simulator, and here's Fudi.st right here. Now, I'm already logged into my profile, so it knows my height, weight, etc. I'll let it figure out this meal for me. And there's that magical lunch button we talked about. Alright, so it's going to tell me based on my profile that 650 to blah 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 calories, such and such fat, protein, and carbohydrates. I can adjust this if I want to. Say, you know what, actually I need more protein today. Find the restaurant. So now it's finding the restaurants that have meals that match that. Find something. This is actually using the GPS of the simulator, so it actually thinks we're in Silicon Valley, by the way. So let's see. Let's see, McDonald's is interesting. This is a live demo, so I don't know what we're going to come up with here. Let's see what McDonald's has for us. It's actually McDonald's having something that's going to be edible to us, that's actually going to be not terribly unhealthy. We had a lot of salads in there. We have filet of fish. So filet of fish and an Asian salad. We can go check the full nutrition on it. We can go back. We can tweak what we want. No, I'll just add a premium Caesar salad instead. That's Fudi.st right there. How am I doing on time? All right. So let me go back in here real quick and just talk real quick about what our market is. Really, I think we have a whole new market that can be opened up because there's a lot of people who are unwilling to approach eating healthy right now. They're we talked about the stress situation. It's just too much for them. It's overwhelming. They've got other things in their lives. I think this is something that's a soft entry to it. And also as they start to see what things are okay to eat, it helps educate them as to what is going to be okay. So I think it opens up a whole new market. In the short term, though, we do have a few markets that already know they want this product. We have a big market in bodybuilders, powerlifters, models, and other people who have already made the decision to get serious into fitness. They're already managing what we call macros, the fat, carbohydrates, and protein. They already are looking for products to fill this void. We don't have an exact market, but the nutrition supplements market and the bar market together are over $6 billion markets, and that's kind of where I think the same budget is going to be used. In closing, I can't get through the rest of my slides, but just let me say we're starting with restaurants, but really Fudi.st wants to be your healthy eating hub. We want whether it's restaurants, recipes, we want to integrate with your wearables, we want to integrate with your smart fridge. We want to be everywhere so that we can make eating healthy just as easy eating unhealthy is. We just want it to be a choice for you. Yes?
Where do you get your money?
Right now, we're going to start with subscription, especially, like I said, we have a market that's clamoring for it, and I think that's a good way for us to build some traction, build some revenue. And so we're going to start with a subscription basis where the actual users are paying. But I do think there's a real opportunity once we have traction to flip that and get the restaurants to clamor to be listed higher and be listed better. And I also think that same opportunity, if we get there, is going to make the rest. We could actually get to the point where we're big enough, or products like us are big enough that restaurants are making healthier menus. Just to get higher on lists like this, much the way businesses compete for Google listings right now. Any other questions? Geronimo.
Obviously, we spoke about your product before. Do you think that you can possibly partner with OpenTable or Yelp and also, what if there's an acquisition that they possibly may want to acquire you, or would you consider that?
So absolutely, I think there's a lot of partnership opportunities because nobody's really in the nutrition space, but there's a lot of companies that are in the space of recommending places to eat for different reasons. You've also got delivery services that I think would make good partners. As far as acquisition, I think right now, to be perfectly honest, anyone who would offer to acquire the company with no traction would not be appealing because they wouldn't believe in it as much as I do. However, down the road, for the right opportunity and the right synergy where we're still building on that drain to make people eat healthy. I'm thinking like if MyFitnessPal came and offered me a big boatload of money or something like that. They have the same priorities as I do, so that would make sense. But who knows? If it was OpenTable, I don't know. Their priorities might not be the same, but how big is the bucket?
It seems like a partnership because OpenTable and Yelp is a bit different. It's like OpenTable directing you to the location, and then with your app, all right, this is how you can eat healthy.
How you can eat healthy while you're here. Yeah. I definitely like that idea. Yes.
What about things like kosher, gluten-free, vegetarian, especially gluten-free, where
I know you guys are doing gluten-free. So gluten-free is definitely something that I find very interesting. Vegetarian is higher on the list because I've just had a lot more people. Pretty much anywhere I go, as soon as I pitch the idea or talk about the idea, if there's more than 3 people in the room, someone will ask me, "Do you support vegetarian?" And so I don't yet, but that one's really high on the list. Gluten is definitely something that I want to figure out where it belongs on the roadmap. But it's
That has to be certified, at least in the law that came in 20 parts per million.
oh wow, okay.
Or less.
Okay, yeah, I really haven't looked at the gluten stuff as closely yet. Like I said, vegetarian is what's that?
I have an email.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, so vegetarian is definitely high in our roadmap. Gluten is going to go in there somewhere. I'm not sure where. Yes.
What are you using to get your food information?
We're actually scraping a lot of sites out there. So scraping them, and then I've got I go through things like Fiverr and Mechanical Turk to have people then clean up the data and add some attributes that are meaningful for foodists. Yeah.
So, you got a number of food apps. How is it that you're going to stand out from the crowd? And I know that's not an easy thing to do, but do you have...
The reality, so the reality is, I mean, like Ron said, there's, OpenTable and Yelp and all those other things out there, but there are not direct competitors right now. So I think we actually synergize really well with just about any other food app you can talk about. In particular, calorie diary apps like Calorie King or MyFitnessPal are, natural complements to this. So it fills an empty void. A void that, well, for people like bodybuilders, it's a void. For other people, it might be the sort of thing they don't know they want it yet, but I think it may be able to open up new markets. Yeah.
So your market are for the people who aren't as health conscious. Do you have a strategy yet on how to target them?
On how to target them? Not really. No. I would say that that we want to start with people who are both health conscious or trying to do it and have a fair amount of savvy, because those guys are first market. They already know they want the product. I think then it can leak into those people who are struggling with how to do it. The ones who are doing things like paleo, who are doing things like these other fad diets where they're just trying to find something to latch onto and make it happen. So I think that some of those people will be able to latch on when they see the bodybuilders and the fitness pros doing it. And I think from there maybe that might be the point where we have enough kind of traction, enough word of mouth where maybe other people go, I hadn't really ever considered it because even paleo seems too hard, but maybe I'll try Fudi.st. Thank you.
All right, so our last presenter for the evening is Syed Amaanullah.
Good job.
Thank you. He's the co-founder of Snapsure. So he's an educator turned entrepreneur. He's an instructional design and logistics expert with international project management experience. He has a decade of experience in connecting people with the knowledge that they need and delivering that knowledge in a timely manner. He has a bachelor's degree in logistics materials and supply chain management from MSU and a master's degree from CMU. Snapsure is a Detroit-based startup working out of the Grand Circus co-working community. The Snapsure team has built a unique mobile platform that allows users to solicit the opinions of their friends, family, and industry experts regarding shopping decisions. Snapsure is trust on tap, but not on the screen yet. So afterwards, while he's setting up, there'll be some networking, and we'll go around, and anybody who has announcements can let people know about any upcoming events that they want people to be aware of. And of course, we encourage you to talk to your fellow serial entrepreneurs here and make some connections. We're almost there.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. So, how many people, is this your first time here tonight? Great. So, we hope that you come back for more. I think this is a great place not only to gain some insight. Ton does a really nice job of getting a venture capitalist every month. And if you would like to present at some point, we invite you to approach one of us to do that. So, here's Syed.
All right. Thank you very much. As Anna Marie said, my name is Syed. Along with Dr. Marlo Rencher over here, we are the co-founders of Snapsure. All right. For as long as there's been shopping, there's been indecision. And indecision is something that literally makes us uncomfortable. It interrupts our lives, adds wasted time to our day, and makes things really difficult for us. Social shopping helps us to minimize indecision by utilizing third parties, family, friends, or even experts to help eliminate indecision. However, currently, the means to get your friends and family to give you feedback while you're shopping is very, very inefficient. You have to either send them a text message with a picture or post it to a social network and scroll through a bunch of comments. There's nothing that's really streamlined and efficient. Right now, actually, to go back, if you go to Instagram right now and you search the hashtag yay or nay, there's actually around 88,000 active posts on Instagram right now. People leveraging technology to try to get feedback. They're calling out for help. And this indecision that they're going through, it costs money, real money. Annually, there's $264 billion in returns in the US alone. Our solution is Snapsure. We built Snapsure to quickly and efficiently connect users to the people that they trust to help them decide what to buy. It's all about trust and timeliness. We deliver trust by connecting you as a shopper to your friends and family, people you already know, people you're already connected with. We deliver timeliness with a mobile-first strategy that allows you to set a timer for how quickly you need a response, and actually presents the vote to your friends and family in a very, very simple manner and makes it very quick and easy for them to vote, and then aggregates all those votes and brings it back to you in the form of a simple screen. So step one, very, very quick and simple. Snap a picture of whatever the item is that you're considering buying and that you're unsure about. Add a caption, share it with the people that you want to share it to. Set a timer for how quickly you need a response, because you know you might only be in that store for another 5, 10, 15 minutes. Your friends get the world's most simple vote screen. The picture pops up after they get a notification, and you vote yes or no, and you can leave a comment to give them further information as to why you voted the way that you did. Now, when the results come back, either when the vote is finished or in real time, you're presented with a real-time infographic of your friends and family and what they think about the item that you're asking feedback for. And furthermore, you can actually use Snapsure to connect with industry experts. And we're starting off by focusing on the fashion world and the fashion niche. So you're able to instantly connect with industry experts to get that expert advice. So for a special occasion or something of that nature, you're able to reach out to somebody who can give you expert advice. So we're ideally talking about fashion bloggers, designers, stylists, people who are already online and are recognized to be experts in their fields. Now, before you guys ask, how do you make money? Connecting with experts is the premium service. It's facilitated through an in-app purchase, and for every $1 that's generated, the experts get 49 cents. Snapsure takes 21 cents, and Apple takes their 30 cents. The experts pay a $9 a month subscription fee to be featured on our platform and to market themselves as being Snapsure experts. Brands are also able to communicate with these experts to solicit their expert opinions regarding maybe a new line that's coming out. And brands are also able to reach out to our users for kind of like an instant focus group to ask about things that they're working on.
It was going so good.
Yeah, it was.
We've all been.
I guess I'm not going to show the video. Yeah, okay. So the video would have shown you a woman who's in a fitting room trying something on for date night with her fiance, but not knowing what to wear and what to buy, and reaching out to her friends and family for instant advice. And they're alerted, and they say yes or no, they give their feedback, and all the votes and comments are brought back to her so she can make that decision right then and there and move on with her life. connect with us on our social networks. We are launching here in the next couple of weeks. We have a launch event that coincides with Grand Circus's Beer and Builders event, August 20th. That's Wednesday, August 20th. So it's an iOS mobile device. Question?
Where do you see the video?
You can see it on our website. If you go to Snapsure.co, you'll be able to see it. We had, good question, because we haven't actually put it out there publicly yet, but today was supposed to be the launch of that. Yes?
So where are you from a, funding perspective or company
Very good
life
question.
cycle?
So between myself and my co-founder, we bootstrapped this company. We've done everything on our own dime, and we're ready to launch a product. It's an iOS-only product right now. We're ready to launch, and we're actually really proud of the fact that we are launching on our own dime. We want to get it out there and get it in front of people and try to build traction before reaching out for funding. But we are in the process of making ourselves fundable. We anticipate seeking investment sometime within the next few months. Yes?
I mean, if you wanted to show your closest friends, couldn't you just like Skype them or FaceTime them or something like that? I guess what makes a person want to download this app, and is it only for friends or family members, or are you opening it up to strangers?
Okay, good question. Because a lot of the competition has actually made the mistake of thinking that you have to create a new social network, which is very intimidating, right? A lot of times people don't want to not only sign up for a new social network, but kind of fit the culture of that social network. This is a social tool. It allows you to connect with the people that you already know. So first thing it does, as soon as you download it and sign up, it allows you to import your Facebook friends if you want, or allows you to import your contacts from your phone book, send them an invite, and connect with them on Snapsure. To answer your first question, you can use Skype or whatever. We're talking about being able to reach 5, 10, 15, 20 people all at the same time, getting all of their feedback, all of their votes, and bringing that back to you all at once. Yes?
How is that different than if I send someone a group text and say, what do you think? And just go, love it, hate it, love it, hate it. Because I can add in my head those 10 people. Because just because I put a timer and sent you a little message from your app, doesn't mean they're going to respond in that time that I gave them.
Sure.
So I'm just curious how you're addressing that approach to a very simple solution to
Sure.
a very cool product.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Instagram is actually a good alternative as well. But if you look at Instagram, a lot of the people that are already tagging their photos with yay or nay, you'll see that we're talking about 50, 60, 70 comments. So not a lot of people want to sit there and count those yay or nays and actually, look at the entire comment and see, did they say yes, no, yay? Like, you have to read the entire comment. We set it up as a yes and no vote, and we're quantifying that information, presenting it back to you in a number and in an infographic. It's like, you know what, it's clear and simple. You have 85% of your friends that said yes. You don't have to go through and scroll through comments and pick out the yes and the no's and all of that stuff. Yes.
It seems like to me, maybe just to help clarify too, that so I can download my Facebook friends, then I can narrow it to the 5 whose opinion I really value, and only have those 5 on my platform every time, as opposed to creating that group message every time. Is that correct?
No, it's like this. You connect with your friends on Snapsure, whether through Facebook or your phone book, and they're there. And then for each individual snap that you send out, you pick from that list. Because, for example, I'm a married man. A lot of times I just want to get my wife's opinion. So I won't ask all my other friends that are on there, just my wife. And that list is there for you, just like anything else. Like if you're sending out a message on your phone, you go through your phone book and look at the list. That's it. You pick individuals, or you can select all of them. It's up to you, depending on how many people you want feedback from. Yes?
So what makes it different than Snapchat? And in terms of if I want to hear something from my friend, I just post on Snapchat, and to make it actually other things like download to Snapchat is kind of really hard. For example, I have, let's say, 1,000 friends right now in my Facebook, but I think 10 of my friends are using Snapchat.
Sure.
And this type of product to make them download, my friends to make them download with my invitation is kind of hard. How about kind of using this kind of corporate and in terms of partnership with Snapchat, these kind of things? it'll help actually.
That's a very good point. Thank you. Appreciate that. We think that number one, incorporating the Facebook login and Facebook importing friends is really important because at least we're taking that step out of the process for a new user to sign up. But there's a big difference in the way that we allow communication between users on Snapsure versus something like Snapchat. And it's literally in two ways. Number one, it's in the way that we quantify the feedback and present it to you. And then number two, the way that your friends vote. It's so simple. You pop open the alert, the screen is there, yes or no, and that's it. They don't have to reply back with the 6-second or 10-second video message. It's yes, no, and leave a comment if they want to.
All right, thanks everyone. Now it would be the time to make some announcements. The next DNewTech is going to be September 3rd, and it's at New Foundry, which is located in Ann Arbor. So if we're still looking for speakers, right, or for presenters, right? So if you're interested in presenting, contact Tanner.